Hey YouTube, it's ICU. Today we're going to go over absolutely everything you can expect, including the next generation iPhone 6s and 6s Plus, the Apple TV 4, and new iPads from Apple next week at their September 9th media event. Now, today's episode is brought to you in part by lynda.com. Go to lynda.com/Tanner for a 10-day free trial and get unlimited access to courses and tutorials ranging from iOS app development to photography and even video editing. All right, now to kick things off here, there are two things that I wanted to say. First and foremost, I'm just going to provide summaries for you guys of what we can expect next week. So I will also have some cards and annotations throughout this video to some resources where you guys can find additional information, and same thing goes for in the description. You can find more resources there. Now, secondly, I am going to be holding a new $50 Amazon or iTunes gift card giveaway. It will be the winner's choice in this video. It will conclude on Monday, so to enter, just be sure to rate it up and stick around to the end. I will have additional details on how to fully enter as we start to wrap up this video. Now, to kick things off, new banners at the Bill Graham Civic Auditorium, which is where Apple's going to be holding their September 9th event, started to go up yesterday. Now, like the invitations that Apple sent out earlier, which may actually be hidden clues to what we can expect, the new decorations feature the exact same graphics, and also some new flags went up too outside of the center. And guys, this is an absolutely massive venue, so we can expect a lot from the event. So let's talk about the next generation iPhones, being the iPhone 6s and 6s Plus, and pretty much every rumor that we've had up until now surrounding the devices. So overall, they will feature the same design, which means that we will likely have the same exact protruding camera lens, as well as the lines at the top and bottom to of course allow the signals to escape the otherwise all metal enclosure. But it will supposedly be built with a 7000 series aluminum, similar to the lower cost Apple Watch, which will of course add that extra durability and prevent against bending once and for all. It will also be slightly thicker and taller to accommodate Force Touch, which is something that I've talked about quite a bit here on the iCrackUriDevice YouTube channel. Force Touch is essentially the technology that was first found in the Apple Watch that's also been adapted into the trackpads of some of the newer MacBook models. It's able to determine how much pressure you're actually putting into your touches and do different things accordingly. So as you can see here, when I just regularly tap on the Apple Watch, nothing happens on the watch face. But when I put pressure behind my touch, it actually brings me into the watch face selection menu here. That's because of course that is a Force Touch. And because of the implementation of this technology, again, it will be slightly thicker. For the iPhone 6s, it's expected that it will be bumped up by 0.2 millimeters. So overall, the difference will be pretty nominal. You won't really be able to notice it on the iPhone 6s. And the same thing probably goes for the 6s Plus. We can expect a similar bump up of about 0.2 millimeters overall. We will also supposedly have a completely new rose gold color option that will more closely match that option of the higher end Apple Watch edition, as well as a darker, more revised version of the current space gray, a 4K camera bump. So yes, we may have 4K video capabilities on a 12 megapixel rear facing iSight camera with improved optics, supposedly the biggest camera update or improvement to the iPhone since its initial release. Also a revised front facing FaceTime camera, probably an improved aperture will be the main focal point of said camera, an updated A9 CPU with 2 gigabytes of RAM for fast and fluid multitasking, especially when going through multiple tabs in Safari, better NFC and faster LTE chips, and apparently motion wallpapers. So similar to what we find on the Apple Watch, especially with the upcoming watchOS 2, we may actually have some motion wallpapers exclusive to the iPhone 6s and 6s Plus. Now, as for a release time frame, based on when it's going to be announced, which again will be the 9th, if we look back at past releases, we can expect to pre-order it on the 11th, and it will ship on September 18th, or rather it will arrive to those who pre-ordered it on the 18th, and it will also be available in store for purchase that same day. Next, iOS 9, Apple's next major update to iOS, which of course will be released soon, actually this month. The features were revealed back in June at WWDC, some of which include split screen multitasking for the iPad Air 2 with a watered down version for other iPads, iOS 9 proactive and intelligent suggestions, which will essentially extend Spotlight and Siri like never before, faster performance, better battery life across all devices, a brand new news app, and just general stock app updates. One of my favorites is actually the new Notes app, which now includes things like sketches and pictures that can be integrated directly into your notes for cross-platform support with Mac OS X El Capitan. And speaking of cross-platform, we also have watchOS 2. Yes, Apple is going to introduce the next version of watchOS alongside iOS 9, which will also include new revised watch faces as well as time-lapse watch faces, which are actually pretty cool. I've had a chance to play around with them already. It will have a new nightstand mode, which will activate when connected to a charger, multicolor sketches, more Siri actions, and a few other tidbits. Now, as far as release goes, we can expect the GM or Goldmaster version, which is essentially the final build on the 9th, same day as the conference, with a final release to the general public around the 15th or the 16th. We will also supposedly get a new 12.9-inch iPad Pro at the event. Current largest iPad is 9.7 inches, so this thing will be absolutely massive. It will make use of the Force Touch tech that I previously outlined, as well as actually have an embedded stylus that uses the Force Touch technology for actually interfacing with the device. It will also probably have an A9 or A9X CPU, 2 gigabytes of RAM or more, and it will actually ship with iOS 9.1 supposedly, so it won't be ready until either October or November. But what about the other iPads? Well, supposedly we'll also see a new iPad mini, being the iPad mini 4, and it will be brought up to par, brought up to spec with the iPad Air 2, because of course the third generation iPad mini was definitely lackluster. Pretty much the only thing that Apple did was implement Touch ID. So with the iPad mini 4, we can expect the same A8X chip, being the tri-core design that we find in the iPad Air 2, a slimmer design adapted from the Air 2 with no air gap between the display and the glass panel itself, 2 gigabytes of RAM, and just general improvements. Again, it will be similar to the iPad Air 2, but just in that smaller mini form factor, and unfortunately no refreshed iPad Air 3, at least at this event. And the reason for that is probably because Apple wants to work on some new killer features so that they can better justify a full-fledged 9.7-inch iPad. Now, what about the Apple TV? This is one that I'm probably the most excited for out of everything. Apparently we will see a new Apple TV 4 or 4th generation device. Finally, it's been so long. The last Apple TV, the 3rd generation, was updated in 2012. The new device will supposedly be powered by an A8 CPU. It will have a new design inside and out, so not only including aesthetics, but also as far as the software and UI is concerned. It will support faster Wi-Fi and Bluetooth with universal search and Siri, so you'll be able to search through multiple different applications, including things like Netflix and iTunes, especially with Siri. A full-fledged app store that developers will actually be able to use to house their applications created specifically for the Apple TV, so similar to what we see on iOS. And the regular remote will apparently have a touchpad, physical buttons, a microphone for Siri, as well as have motion sensitivity for casual games, with the possibility of secondary controllers for hardcore games that will connect via Bluetooth. Now, the current $69 model will remain, and it will stay in production, so we'll still see the 3rd gen Apple TV, but the new one, the 4th gen, will start at $149 for 8 gigabytes or $199 for 16 gigabytes. And finally, we may see new, more pastel-like Apple Watch sports bands. Now guys, that pretty much wraps up everything. And before we get into the new $50 giveaway, I wanted to thank our sponsor for today's video, lynda.com/Tanner, the best source for comprehensive tutorials ranging from web development to photography and design. Their guides on Final Cut Pro X and Xcode, particularly the Swift training guides for creating iOS apps of your own, are absolutely great. In fact, you can use lynda.com's video tutorials to learn how to edit videos similar to mine, like the one you're watching now. Just go to lynda.com/Tanner to start your 10-day free trial. That's lynda.com/Tanner. Use the link now so they know I sent you. Okay, and as far as the $50 giveaway is concerned, again, it will be an iTunes or Amazon gift card depending on what the winner wants. It will conclude on Monday, and I'll let you guys know on Twitter and Facebook who won, and I'll contact them directly through YouTube and email. What you have to do is rate this video up and then navigate to freeappsfast.com inside of Mobile Safari on your iOS device and sign up. The on-screen steps are very simple. From there, just download any of the apps for points that you see in the main offers tab here, and then go to the fourth tab and you see your referral link. Take the unique bit at the end after the equals symbol, mine is just iCUID, and post it down below in the comments along with something else so your entry does not get flagged as spam. That's how you'll be entered, and that's how I'll actually know to contact you via email or YouTube. From there, once you accumulate some points, you can actually redeem some awesome prizes, including other gift cards of your own or paid apps from Apple's App Store. Now, I really hope you guys liked this video. I am going to hold some new live coverage, some of which I've never actually attempted before, on the 9th, so be sure to stay tuned. Click the subscribe button down below next to my channel name if you have yet to. I'll let you guys know more about my live coverage on not only Twitter, but also Facebook, so ensure that you follow me on all of the social mediums I use, as well as Instagram at iCUID. Join me next week for everything I discussed in this video and more, and until next time, this is ICU signing out.